You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
Well, I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show, the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. The phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. We don't have any new callers today, but we do have Kyle from Madison. Let's just get into it. What's going on, Kyle?
Hey, it's Kyle from Madison. Maybe you're killing me over my last couple of calls because I listened to the podcast today and you're saying that love practice all week. Stop blaming practice. And I'm like, well, I mean, if that's true, then yeah, I guess they're just trash. But I went back and just looked, because I remember reading, I think he was limited one day and limited the second day. Now, according to Sports Illustrated, he practiced and reporters, he was in a limited fashion Thursday, moving gingerly. That's a direct quote. And then Friday, he was limited. That's what SI says. So maybe I'm misinformed and he practiced all week. If so, I apologize and I retract my comments. But maybe you have different information than me.
Well, I mean, I guess we're just, and I even said, maybe you had different information than I did. I mean, limited is still practicing. So it's just a question of, it's different than full, but it's also different than the week where he didn't practice at all. And he hadn't played for weeks. And then he comes in, doesn't practice once, as in he didn't step foot on a football field at all. Hasn't thrown a football to his players, nothing. That is not practicing. Limited is you're still going through stuff. You're still throwing footballs. You're still throwing passes to your guys. And again, I don't know the full context of what limited means. It could mean different things. I mean, the actual definition of limited is something less than 100%. Now, I did not hear the moving gingerly part, and that goes to the question that not just you, but a lot of people have had in terms of, are you pushing him out there when he's not ready to go out there? And I've been somewhat defensive, but also critical at the same time in terms of I do not want him out there if he's not 100%. And the team told me that they weren't going to do that, and I'm skeptical that they're keeping that promise. And I especially said that at the Vikings game. That seemed like complete BS because you could see he couldn't step into his throws. And again, that doesn't mean that he's hurt or whatever. It could just be that he's scared to do it. I don't know. But the fact that he didn't practice and they didn't get a chance to see him go through stuff and see if he's feeling okay is a problem. The point I guess that I'm making is they did get a chance to do that. It wasn't perfect. He wasn't in full, but he can put weight on his his knees or his hips or whatever. Can't really put weight on your groin, at least not in a way that would be well, never mind. Sounds painful, however that process would work. But the point is I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. At some level, you just got to suck it up and play. Guys play hurt. That's what they do. I mean, I want him out there, but I say it has to be 100%, but nobody's 100% right now. There are 0 players on this team that are playing that are at 100%. They're all beat up. They're all bruised. They're all battered. So, and we all know that we're trying to kind of essentially say if he's hurt to the point where it's going to hinder his play, but even more importantly, could potentially get damaged worse than he shouldn't play. And we're spending a lot of time talking about it without actually knowing what the heck is going on. So I don't know. I guess as long as we put the caveat on that I'm not 100% sure, but if this is what they're doing, I'm pissed, then I'm with you. I think my only pushback is I don't know 100% that that's the case. And I certainly know that it's not true that he didn't practice at all, although he was limited, which isn't the same as full, whatever. I don't want to hammer on that too long, other than to say that is my perspective. If they're doing it, I'm not happy about it, but I don't know. I haven't seen sufficient evidence that they know he's hurt and can't put weight on things and all this stuff, and they're pushing him out there anyway. If you have that, I'll take a look at it, right? If, for example, if Thursday somebody said he seemed to be walking gingerly, okay, I don't know exactly what that means. I don't know what that meant about Friday or Saturday or Sunday, right? Is he still doing that? Because again, I watched him. I didn't think he looked bad. I think this is several days ago. I think you kind of disagreed. You thought he looked bad immediately. I didn't see any issues until he threw that pick and was like, "Oh no, I hurt myself." And it's like, shut up, dude. You ain't hurt. You're just making excuses now. But anyways, we don't have to go all the way down that freaking rabbit hole again. I don't know. We'll see. We're probably going to bring it back up again 100 times.
What's up, Ryan? It's A.A. Ron from Eau Claire.
What's up?
I had a couple of non-traditional ways that the Packers could solve some of their issues.
All right.
So the first one is for penalties. So for
Dog
the
collars.
offense in their practices,
Right.
what they could do is just give up on trying to be more disciplined and just practice starting every first down with 20 yards to go. So in their practice, they just get really good at having a 20-yard distance to get a first down.
Yeah.
And that way,
I like that.
they always have, well, they're prepared.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's a joke.
Yeah, I get it.
But
That's funny.
but it's gotten so bad that it's almost worth wondering.
You got to kind of expand your playbook a little bit. You know, they always say, like, there's no play for 3rd and 20 or whatever. It's like, well, start making them. Start figuring out how to get those plays, because we live in 1st and 20.
If they just should do that. But anyways, then the second thing is for Jordan Love to not throw these interceptions. I wonder if he should sign a contract with the team that says if he's responsible for throwing a pick within 30 yards of their own end zone in a game, he has to cook dinner for the whole team. Something like that. Not if someone else is at fault, then that's different. But or something like that. I don't know. But
Yeah, forget cooking. He just got to take them out to a nice place. The whole team, the coaching staff, everything. They're going to run up $100,000 tab, and it's basically a fine, but not an official one. It's $100,000, and you're going to feed everybody. I mean, everybody. We're shutting down. It's got to be a big restaurant. It might take multiple days to get everybody in. We're shutting the whole restaurant down, bringing everybody on staff in there. We're running up, buying steaks and lobster and bottles of wine, and you're paying for every freaking one of them.
I don't know. Something's got to change. Like, something's got to really get through to them. Like, this needs to stop.
I'll be honest. It's stupid that it took me this long to even think of it, but my kids, at least half of them, have had a real problem with finding their shoes, which sounds stupid because it's like, well, you take your shoes off at the front door. It's like, well, I usually take my shoes off in the car and then I leave them in there a lot of times, or sometimes I bring them in and then I kick them across the house. And then I said, okay, you know what? If I say put your shoes on and you say I don't know where your shoes are, you are getting punished, right? There will be a chore. Like, you're going to go do the dishes. You're going to go clean some. I haven't had a problem with it since. I didn't think it'd be that easy. It is that easy. Maybe it's that easy. Maybe just say, hey, D-bag, do it again, and here's the consequence. I'm done. Stop it. I don't know what that could be. I mean, you're not going to give him. I mean, just do something stupid and embarrassing. Like, make them do freaking laps or something, and everybody has to sit there and watch and laugh at him for being an idiot. I don't know. These are terrible ideas, but you get what I'm saying. Come up with something to where we're not just going to brush it off. That's what I don't want. Because I think to some degree that's where we're at. It didn't used to be that way. I think, old school football, guys would get in your face, they'd be screaming at you, you'd be doing laps, all kinds of humiliating. Now it's like you got to treat these guys with kid gloves a little bit. Plus you want to like keep the quarterback on a pedestal to where, you got to respect this guy because you want him to have the respect of the line. I don't know. I don't think they're going to do it, but they should probably do it.
But anyways, I thought that was a little bit of a silly, fun idea.
I'm down.
So, I don't know. If you have any other untraditional ways, it'd be fun to hear them.
Off the top of my head, I don't, but I like that. You need to build a playbook around 20-plus yards on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down. And maybe Jordan Love should cook. Maybe because he's got enough money, maybe it's not even that big of a deal anymore to slap the freaking credit card down and go out drinking and having a good time with the buddies. Maybe, he has to wear an apron, all decked out in like pink flowers and everything else. And he's got to bake the whole thing, like a big meal, a casserole, Wisconsin style casserole of some sort. And some brownies or something, just for the boys. I don't freaking know, man.
Hey, Ryan, Peter Chief Benny here.
Hey.
Packers just traded Preston Smith to the Steelers for a 7th-round pick.
About to get real.
Now, this makes sense. Get him off the books. But it will not make sense if we don't freaking get somebody that's going to be helpful to us. All right? And I was all for the Van Ness pick, but he clearly he's not there right now, man. So if that's what we're going to have to deal with, oh well. And maybe, who knows, maybe Van Ness shines now, somehow. But as far as I see right now, we need to go get Chase Young or somebody. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Go get somebody. All right, anyways, go Pack, go.
Yeah, and obviously I've talked about it to some extent already on the podcast when it happened, but I don't think it's contingent on anything. I think each individual decision is made on its own merits, and they felt that the Preston trade was a positive trade, and I'm guessing they looked at other options, and Gutekunst had made the comment that they determined early on that it was not going to be a very lucrative market. There weren't going to be a lot of options as far as who was actually available and how much people wanted for compensation. Kind of knew that they weren't really going to be a part of it, so I think in general, you want to be a team that is a buyer. I think in general, you want to be a team that adds rather than subtracts. But I don't think you just come into it with that overall thought process and you don't take good offers to offload players because you're a buyer, not a seller. And you also go out and go get people just for the sake of getting them because, again, we're buyers and not sellers. So here is Beer Cheese Benny, hour and a half later, very unhappy. So here we go. Probably not going to bleep this, so just, earmuffs.
Same shit, different year, Ryan. Goody's a freaking dumbass. It's okay, you're going to get rid of Preston Smith. That's fine. I like it, honestly. I was like, okay, man, we get rid of this guy. I forgot he was on the team, honestly.
All right, so first of all, just to be clear, that was a good decision. Okay, so we don't even need to address that. That's good. That saves me a lot of time.
Like I said earlier, because he doesn't do anything, he's slow and old.
Right.
And then I'm thinking, okay, maybe this means that they're going to go try to get somebody. And I was like, but it's probably not going to happen. And then it really didn't happen, and somehow I'm surprised by it, even though I'm not. But I'm still pissed, because now we have, the worst edge rush in football. We have the worst D-line in football, really. Or not really. Well, okay, that was another over-exaggeration. This is bad, Ryan. Gutekunst's inability or unwillingness to trade for key pieces during the season is why I genuinely believe that we can't win a Super Bowl. I don't know what does he do? He just is like, oh, I need to keep these draft picks. Yeah, okay, nice dude, you got a 7th-round pick. Yeah, that'll work out. Freaking idiot. And then, what are we gonna do now? Lucas Van Ness, he better freaking step it the hell up. No. He better become, the best freaking pass rusher ever. And then Enigbari and freaking Mosby or whoever the hell, they better be freaking amazing now. Because this is what he wanted, so. And Rashawn better step it up, too. So I don't really know. This is so stupid. Explain to me, I'm going to just hang up because I'm at a loss for words, honestly, how stupid this crap is.
Well, it's like I've said before, it's not like a grocery store. You don't just go out and get, you mentioned everybody needs to be great now. Why does everybody need to be great now? Because if we'd have got somebody, everybody would have been great, or would everybody still be crap, except we'd have a different guy that's probably not that good anyways? It would have been nice to have, and I've listed the names. There were guys whose numbers were pretty solid. A lot of the guys never got moved. Probably most of them were not even being considered. Teams were not even answering phone calls about them. I can't off the top of my head remember guys that got moved that I thought actually would have been a big benefit. Hilariously, the only one that would have been semi-interesting would be Zadarius Smith, and that's obviously not going to happen. There were a lot of very small 3-4 outside linebackers that are not very good anyways. I know there was a guy out with the Giants that then ended up not getting moved. They said it was never really an option anyways. He wouldn't have been a good option either. Again, I think there were several guys that would have been interesting. I don't think any of them actually ever got traded. It was not a very, as far as defensive end pass rush goes, I just don't think there were a lot of guys. And I don't think it was for lack of trying. I think Gutekunst was interested, just like he probably was interested in the corner market and everything else. But you can't just manifest things out of thin air. You have to find, you're one of 32 teams, first of all. So even if there's somebody like Marshawn Lattimore, we're not going to just be able to say, okay, I'll take him. Well, no, you're not just going to take him. We have a price, and that price is going up because a lot of teams are interested. And I do think that, I don't remember who it was, but whoever it was, in my opinion, massively overpaid for Marshawn Lattimore. I like Lattimore. I liked him as sort of a floor-setting number 2 cornerback. That's not what they traded for. They went out and got like a premier number 1 corner, and I don't think that that's what he is, in my opinion. So I don't know. I mean, you'd have to be, I guess, more specific and say, I think they should have done this. Find the guy that did get traded and say that this is the price, and I would have paid that price, and I think it would drastically transform. You said we're not going to win a Super Bowl because of it, generally because we don't do things like this. I tend to disagree. I do think there is a scenario where maybe somebody in a very, again, rare scenario could actually push you over the hump, but I just generally don't view it that way so much. I don't think it's that he doesn't want to add talent. I just don't think. I think by the time you get to this point, your team is what your team is. For example, the Chiefs made moves. Some other teams made moves. What percentage of the Chiefs' success is going to be around DeAndre Hopkins? I think he had a good day or whatever. So everybody freaks out, of course, like, oh, look, they're geniuses now. But look at how much of their success is around Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes. It's like 98% of the success right there. Everybody else doesn't matter. How much? I mean, I'm maybe over exaggerating some, but defensive coordinator is also very talented and got some pieces. But I mean, DeAndre Hopkins accounts for what percentage of the success? How much does he move the needle compared to everybody else? I don't know if he makes it budge at all. If he does, it's just such a tiny bit. It really is. But I don't know. I mean, you got to make your own decisions. You got to find something that actually makes sense, and you got to be the one of the 32 teams or 30 or 20 or however many are actually interested. Obviously, the team that's getting rid of them is not going to be one of them. But I just personally didn't look at anything and go, oh, I wish we would have done that. I would have offered even more for that. Somebody gave up a 4th for this guy, and it's like he would have been worth at least a 3rd. I would have done it. There was nothing. My opinion, though, I don't know. I know I'm sure we got Kyle from Madison coming up. I'm guessing he's going to share your sentiments, and a bunch of other people that probably not super happy with it. It's not the way I wanted it to go, but just looking at the landscape, I've always said Preston moving on made sense at the trade deadline. There were people that I liked, but it just, I don't know. I didn't see anything specifically where I thought the Packers made a bad decision or lacked a good decision.
Hey, Kyle from Madison.
What's up?
So, Preston Smith for 7th round pick. So, are we serious about this? This is the worst week the Packers have had in a long time. I mean, I don't care what the PFF grades or whatever. Not playing great. The 7th round pick, if you think that you got any kind of playoff aspirations, who we got? We got Cox out there now? What are we? A 7th round pick? It's nothing. It's nothing, man. I mean, that's and just the locker room ding you're going to take from this. I completely disagree. I think it's garbage. I think the season's I don't know. I mean, it's not done, obviously, but what on earth? I don't know. Go ahead, throw some PFF grades at me and about how bad he is and all that. And I'm sorry. It's just stupid beyond belief, unless there's something going on and we didn't know. I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy. He's at least can come in and do some things for you. No, I'm so pissed off today. What are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, you obviously haven't heard it yet, but the day after is when I kind of went through all the stuff, so I don't want to rehash everything. But, again, I don't think I don't know. I understand the perspective, call it the general fan perspective on these things, and I call myself a Ted Thompsonite, I guess, and you could say that it's stupid, and I generally hated 7th round picks, but as I went through in the episode after we got rid of Preston, Gutekunst has been fantastic with them. Not only can you move around with these pieces, not only can you get guys like, Malik Willis with 7th round picks, but he got us a starting left tackle and Carrington Valentine and that kind of stuff that came with 7th round picks, along with guys like Samori Toure that marginally helped us out at brief periods of times. I think the bottom line is they knew that he was gone. They didn't expect he was going to get anything. I think the way the Packers, I mean, obviously, again, we know, or we've heard that Preston had actually asked for a trade, and obviously that changes the dynamic a little bit. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, he went for a 7th round pick for a reason. And the reason is there were 0 teams willing to give up a 6th round pick. So in terms of his value and whatnot, I don't need to necessarily go to PFF. I can just tell you that. I mean, nobody wanted him for that, or for more than that. And I think when you look at the way the Packers view things, and I tend to agree with it generally, not just broadly in all cases necessarily, but you're talking about 2 months of Preston or several years with whatever the 7th round pick can give you. And I think it becomes hard to argue or see a path where a guy that is not producing and is playing terrible football and doesn't want to be there and doesn't fit in your scheme is worth keeping, as opposed to bringing up the guys that are long-term people. I know Lucas Van Ness has been playing terrible, not that much worse than Preston, but also we haven't seen Brenton Cox at all. I think he's a great fit in the 4-3 scheme. I think he was great in the offseason. Maybe he's terrible. I don't know. But again, if you can just be barely subpar, if Mosby or Cox could be average or below average, they're going to be better than everybody else on this team. So, I mean, you mentioned Brenton Cox or Mosby or whatever, like they're not going to be playing very much, because it's largely going to be Rashawn Gary, Lucas Van Ness, Kingsley Enagbare. They're going to be getting most of the snaps. Then you'll have some Mosby, and after that you'll get a little bit of Brenton Cox. But again, it doesn't move the needle all that much for me. I like Preston. I don't think it just doesn't bother me, because he's been, I mean, again, forget the grades. The stats are putrid. I mean, it is the only thing historically that I can compare it to, and this goes pretty much across the board, was Nick Perry the year after he got paid. And that was like shockingly bad. It was like the worst thing I've ever seen. He was getting like a 5% pressure rate. That's what a lot of the guys on our team are getting right now. So I just don't care. And I'm sure people will turn around and look at the 7th round pick that doesn't do very well and be like, oh, yeah, that was really worth it. Like, well, okay. Okay, I don't care.
I'm going to get ahead on this one. I'm already seeing a lot of people upset about Preston Smith being traded, but in my opinion, that was a good move. He was aging. He was overpaid. We're going to save a bunch of money on the cap room. And honestly, I don't think he was enough of a net benefit over some of the guys we already have on the roster. He's taking snaps from like Mosby, Cox, and Enagbare. And in the process, we get a draft pick. Go Pack, go.
Yeah, and it probably didn't hurt to have Mosby come out and on like his one play go out and get a sack. On one hand, you're looking at it and saying, we can't start taking snaps away from Preston and giving it to guys like Mosby, although he has already been moving down the depth chart pretty drastically. But at some point, you watch Mosby, and, again, I think, I could be very wrong, but I think Mosby and Cox are going to be solid in the situation that we have here, and you watch them play and you watch the success and you realize that you really like Cox, but there's just no snaps for him. And you get to the point where it's like, what's the point? Why can't they play? Make the pitch. We need to suppress guys like Mosby and Brenton Cox from getting snaps because Preston Smith has deserved what? I cannot express enough how terrible he has been. I hate to say that on the way out the door. I like Preston a lot. Seems like a great dude. I think the team really, really liked him. And I understand the whole locker room thing, but I'm not as worried about that. I mean, there was a little bit of rumbling going on after Rasul, although there was rumbling with Rasul. I feel like he was part of the problem. But I think that's mostly resolved, again, with the understanding that Preston was the one that kind of initiated it, according to, I believe, Preston. So, and I think that the teammates probably knew that. I mean, if he's saying he wants out, I'm guessing that the rumors were circulating inside the locker room already. Anyways, we are quite a ways into this, so let's go ahead and take our first break, and we will get back to Dakota. We'll be right back.
Hey, y'all, this is Dakota, that nerd in Tennessee. So I just saw on the Twitter told me 2 hours ago, but I just saw it now that Green Bay traded Preston to the Steelers. I still don't know what he traded him for, as in what compensation. But, so, of course, this is very much like when Goody traded Rasul over to wherever the hell he went. That's right. But, look, I still think trading Rasul was not that good of an idea. I mean, yeah, what do we get for Rasul? I really got to do research before I make these calls. But Rasul was doing something with us. Now, of course, he went somewhere else and completely sucked. A lot of times we get players from people, and Goody's great at picking them, and then they do well in our scheme. We have so many examples of them. So when we trade them away, it kind of looks like that we traded them at the right time because then they go to another team and they suck. But that's because they were really only good with us. Now, Preston wasn't bad with, I believe, the Ravens whenever he was traded over from there. He improved significantly with us. And I don't know how he's going to do with the Steelers. Honestly, don't know. But I would like to know what we got him for. What we got for him.
7th.
And, I mean, he's like our most, productive rusher, isn't he, at this moment for this season? Oh, no. I need to do more research. Nothing compared to the Rasul trade for some reason. The Rasul trade physically hurt me last year. I can't say that I hate this one. I mean, he's turning 32? That's cool. If we can get something beneficial for him. Tucker Kraft has broken the 3rd-round curse, so, I wonder if we're going to get a 3rd for Preston. Who knows?
Yikes.
Maybe a 4th. Either way, crazy stuff is happening in Green Bay. Let's just hope that they play better and stop sucking all of the booty. All right, peace.
Well, Dakota's going to be real mad, and he calls back in about 5 minutes, so we'll see how this goes. But no, it was not a 3rd-round pick. Oh, boy.
I just saw the compensation. A single 7th-round pick. Come on now. Come on.
But let's be realistic, though, Dakota. A 32-year-old who has 3 sacks and a pressure rate of about 5%, who has a very expensive contract. He is not. I don't even think he's worth the 7th-round pick. It is a what are they even paying for? That's pretty rough, man. I'm just saying. There's no way.
Now, I know he's older, and he kind of dipped in productivity when, I don't know. I guess I don't even remember how he did last year. I just know we got a 7th. For Preston Smith. And that makes me sad because you know who's been giving 7th-round production? Kenny Clark. And no, I don't want to trade Kenny Clark for a 7th-round pick. And I would be sad if we did. But come on. Are we going to replace Preston? Because he was kind of a big part. And I do understand
that we are probably going to change the types of linebackers we got because we changed schemes. I just am impatient, and I would like to see that right now. But whatever.
I mean, we'd all love to see it just fixed. The problem is there is no fix right now. There isn't. There's nobody in free agency. You can't go to the draft yet. That's not an option. And like I said, there is no grocery store. So unfortunately, it just is what the team, I shouldn't even say unfortunately, it's a talented football team with a defense that's actually playing at a relatively high level and an offense that has not even begun to hit its stride yet. So I don't want to sit here and freaking get into this pissy moany thing where we pretend everything is so awful. It's not the situation. But the defensive line is a problem as far as the pressure rate, and Preston was not helping it. You could say he's the most productive rusher. That was the whole thing on that talk radio station where they're saying he's number 1 in sacks. It's like, bro, it's 3, and that's a terrible number, and he's tied with Rashawn, and it's a travesty that is the number. It's a joke of a number that's number 1 on our team. So, I don't know, whatever. 1265 fan.
Hey, Ryan.
Hey.
This is 1265. So I was watching the Packers Roku channel, and I literally just watched the Rock report.
Yeah.
About Josh Jacobs. OMG. Yeah, it's going to make you mad, but holy shit. Sorry. Holy cow. Did we run the ball? I just don't, yeah. And I place blame on Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur, number 1 blame holder. I understand players got to play. They have plenty of responsibility. I get it. They're responsible as well for their performance. But there is something wrong with the coaching here when you can't get your team ready. And it's the same mistakes week after week after week after week. And believe me, I like Matt LaFleur. I do. I like Matt LaFleur a lot. I don't want to get rid of the man. But come on. You cannot be Mr. Stoic, tough guy, and in these press conferences and stuff when you just lost a flipping game. And you were a big part of why we lost the flipping game. Coach your guys up. Okay, bye.
Yeah, I don't know where else to put the blame. With, again, we go round and round about the same topics, but it's just hard to talk about the issues because I don't know what to do with that. I don't know what to say about it other than the coaching. I don't know. And it's not always this way. I mean, again, we're getting super pessimistic and super negative. And I understand I'm taking calls from, like a week ago, and obviously I was much more pessimistic at the time, but I'm sitting here having not even really remembered what has happened recently other than, I like our defense. I like our offense. I know they kind of stumbled last week. I think having like a broken memory is benefiting me right now because it's like, oh, what happened? They had a bad week last week? That sucks. Like freaking whatever. I don't care. Like playing the Bears, go kick the crap out of the Bears, and everybody's calls will be happy again. So, no, but I don't know. It is what it is. I don't want to fire Matt. I don't think Matt is necessarily the best at whatever talent it is of getting guys super motivated and focused on a week-to-week basis. And I don't know what to do about that. And worst of all, I don't think Matt knows what to do about that. It just is what it is. Maybe he needs some help. Whatever that help is currently is not on the team. I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know if it's a locker room thing where they got to be able to be self-motivated and they're just not. They don't have that leadership of, a quarterback or whatever it is that's really going to rally everybody together. I don't know. But this is the Packers. And they have the talent to go far. They're not displaying that talent. And a lot of it is just mental mistakes and mental errors. And I don't know that it gets fixed. We'll just have to wait and see, I guess. I don't know, man. I don't know what else to to really say about it other than that. Why don't we take our second break? We were kind of late on the first break. Let's just take the second one now. Come back and hear from Nico.
Hey, Ryan, this is Nico in Idaho. It's like 1 o'clock. Just hanging out on my balcony. Oh, just thinking about the Packers. You know what? Right now, I don't care. For some reason, and I don't know why, I'm just in a really good mood. Really? I don't know why.
You and me
My
both,
buddy
brother.
Sailor Jerry came over tonight. We had a lot of good talks. Yeah, my buddy.
All right.
Sailor Jerry. But for some unknown reason, I'm just in a great mood. So, it's really hard to be mad about really anything else. Anything that isn't like essential to life. You know, like sports. Because really, sports are cool. But, you know, if your favorite team doesn't win a game, and it doesn't really mean anything because life goes on. So yeah, I'm in a great mood for some reason. I don't know why. But as far as the Packers go, I mean, it's all good. Halfway through the season, we're not the worst team. We still have a lot of improvements. Can we improve? Maybe. If we don't improve, you know what? It won't be the first time the Packers haven't won the Super Bowl. And if they get close, even better. So all I can say is to this amazing country, and I can say that because I've been in other countries. They're not so good.
Sure.
I've known a lot of people that have been had to go to many other countries, and they can tell you by far that they're no better. So, in this great country, let's just all, I don't know, just be happy. And let's just imagine that stuff's going to get better real soon, and maybe the Packers will win some more games.
Maybe.
Maybe not this next week. Hey, at least I know that this Sunday we won't lose a game. And maybe Jordan Love can figure crap out and stop throwing interceptions. And maybe LaFleur can stop doing stupid things. But anyways, go Pack, go.
Well, I'm happy you're in a good mood, Nico. I can't imagine why on Wednesday at 2 o'clock in the morning. It took me a while to realize what the heck you were hinting at. I was not picking up on the hint. Wednesday at 2 o'clock in the morning. But I'm glad you're in a good mood. I'm in a good mood today. Like I said, I just forgot all about the world for a while there. Just got back, and I think I'm delirious. I mentioned it tomorrow, not so much today. I didn't sleep for like the last 2 nights. So if I've been speaking in a different language or saying things that don't make sense, I apologize. But no, I think sorry, random text messages. I think I've just kind of done a memory wipe, and I think I'm far enough away from what happened last week to where it's clean slate. Maybe it's just watching the Lions play like garbage for the second week in a row and should have lost, even though they didn't. Not necessarily feeling that's a dominant team that we can't beat. The Vikings just out there throwing a bunch of picks and barely beating a Jaguars team that is not good and doesn't have their quarterback. Watching the Bears lose to the actual worst team in football. You know, I think I'll be all right. I think I'm ready to rock and roll. Beer Cheese, what do you got?
Hey, Ryan, Beer Cheese, Benny here.
What's up?
So, I was thinking, I think it's great that they got rid of Preston Smith.
All right.
And here's why. I already explained this. He's old, slow.
Yeah.
And we get him off the books, okay? Blah, blah, blah. Got that out of the way. Okay. So, basically, I think this is going to be huge for the development and improvement of Lucas Van Ness. He's going to get more snaps.
Sure.
But here's the thing. you have to really hope that works. And, we were really hoping there would be waves of improvement for this pass rush, and we don't even have a single wave. So I'm just hoping that Van Ness can really step it the frick up, man.
Yeah, he needs to.
And I don't know if he's just not playing well because he's not getting enough reps, or if he's just really not that good and he's a bust. I don't know, man. But I'm gonna be rooting for him, and hopefully that freaking Jamin Davis dude we brought in from the practice squad can play. Maybe he can play freaking edge rush, dude. He can get some snaps and kick some ass. But whatever. Bye. Go Pack Go.
It is sink or swim time for Lucas Van Ness. I mean, they say give him like 3 years or whatever, but I mean, he's playing at such a terrible level. I feel like, you're just going to sit out there, you're going to give it your all, and you're either going to be that dude or you're a piece of crap and we need to do everything we can to replace you. That's about it. I don't know what else to say about it.
Hey, Brian, Beer Chief Benny here.
What's up?
I've come to my grip of my senses and reality, and Gutekunst is awesome.
Okay, great.
Not making a move was smart. And what people got to realize is just because these players could be sold doesn't mean that Gutekunst was necessary. They could have called, Packers could have called, hey, we want Jadeveon Clowney, or whoever, Marshawn Lattimore, and well, we want a first and a second or something like that. And the dude's going to obviously be like, well, hell no, but oh my gosh, I almost just got killed by a palm from.
Dang.
Sorry, anyway. So basically, just because players are available doesn't mean we can get them all the time. Or that the other team's gonna be realistic about giving us a return or whatever, or asking of us. And also, you got to think about this, guys. Some players go to a certain team or whatever, they make a deal. A team makes another deal with another team because they want one of their picks or whatever in exchange for giving them a player. And they look at it as this. It's just this team, let's say Browning, he went to the Cardinals. And maybe the Packers did call about him. But, the Broncos looked at it they're worse right now. They're a worse team. And the Packers beat the Cardinals. So, we want the Cardinals pick, the 6th-round pick, because they're going to be in a better position more than likely. So you kind of have to look at all these kind of things. And I'm excited to see what we can do in moving around the defense. I was listening to Packernet, Andy Herman, he said maybe Quay can move to the outside. And then we have Jamin Davis. Maybe they plug him in with Wilson and Cooper at linebacker. Maybe they just move some things around. Maybe they figure something out that really works. So I think we have to be kind of optimistic. And obviously the pass rush is not where it needs to be, but maybe getting rid of Preston elevates these young guys and allows them to unlock their true potential. So anyways, let's look forward to seeing what they do. Let's get healthy in this bye, and let's go beat the Chicago Bears. Go Pack Go.
Yeah, I mean, this is the team, and guys got to step up. And I'm usually not a big fan of moving guys like Quay around or whatever, but I do think he needs to get away from middle linebacker. And who knows, maybe they will experiment with that a little bit. I think a lot of their, we got to remember, a lot of their success with blitzing has been more exotic type stuff. It's sending the linebackers or whatever, and they are having a lot of success with that. So might not even need to put a guy like Quay on the edge, as much as I don't necessarily love him playing outside linebacker. If you want to blitz him, it still might be the best position to just leave him at linebacker and just send him that way. I think Edgerrin will be much better at that anyways, but I don't know, man. I think the defense did get better after Rasul left, as counterintuitive as that seems, but stuff changes. When stuff changes, stuff changes. And it seems on a very surface level if it's changing, it must be worse because we subtracted a guy. But that's not necessarily the case. And beyond that, you just think how bad the team has played I mean, whether the team gets better or worse is going to depend largely on the players that are already there and whether they're going to play better or worse. If the guys that are there step it up, I mean, if everybody gets a little bit better, it's not going to matter. And if everybody there starts to take a step back, it wouldn't matter who we added. We're going to end up being worse. So it is what it is, man. I don't know what else to say. Guys got to just go out and deal with it. There's always going to be issues. And this is going to be every year. I mean, this is going to be every year at the trade deadline. There's going to be an issue or two or three or four. And there's not always going to be an answer. And people are going to be mad because we have an issue and you didn't fix it. That's going to be every year. And guess what? That's going to happen after the draft, too. There's going to be an issue, and we're not going to adequately address it. Because you can't. I mean, there's a dream scenario where you can look at it and pretend all these picks are going to be great and just assume everything's fine now. But you can't fix everything. And that's why you can't go into these things just saying that I have to fix it. You go in with a process. And you follow the process and you let the chips fall where they may. And that's where we're at. And again, I don't want to sit here and act like we're a bad football team. Like, oh, I just got done doing the whole Bears episode, laughing at how bad they are. And then I come over here and I feel like Packer fans feel like we're the Chicago Bears. And again, I understand. I was in your headspace a week ago too, which is where these calls are coming from. But I'm hoping you guys have turned a corner because I'm ready to go, man. I'm ready to rock and roll. As long as the Bears don't fire their coach, I'm feeling pretty confident about beating them. I get pretty superstitious about the whole firing coaches and then, them winning their first game thing like the Saints just did this week. But Saints did win, right? I've said that like 7 times, and I'm sitting here like, I'm pretty sure they won. I think that's right. I don't know. I do that sometimes. It's fine. If I get it wrong, I don't freaking care. It's not that important. Point is, it scares me. But feeling good, ready to go, rock and roll. Not taking a break. We're going home. I need to go to bed. I'm going to get out of here. You guys have a good rest of your night. I will talk to you tomorrow. We're doing Laughing at the Enemy, talking about the Bears. It's going to be a 2-day thing. I didn't get through half of what I wanted to talk about. So we got a long episode tomorrow, and it's going to be making fun of the Bears, and we're going to do it again the next day, and we're just going to have a great Bears week. So I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.